What if some of the most intelligent people you've ever met didn't learn it from school? What if they learned it from pain? Psychology has a name for it, and if you recognize these signs in yourself, this might change how you see your entire story. There's a concept psychologists are calling traumatic intelligence. The idea is this: trauma doesn't only wound people, in many cases it sharpens them. Children who grow up in unpredictable, emotionally complex environments often develop something most people never do: a heightened ability to read people, predict situations, and process emotion at a level that goes far deeper than average. Their brains were trained early, not by choice, but by survival. Here are 5 signs you might have developed this kind of intelligence without ever realizing it. Sign 1. You can read a room before anyone says a word. You walk in somewhere, and something shifts inside you. A quiet alertness. You notice the tension in someone's posture, a micro-expression that crosses someone's face for less than a second, a shift in energy that nobody else seems to catch. Most people call this intuition. Psychologists call it pattern recognition. Your brain was trained from an early age to scan your environment for emotional data, because at some point in your life, that scanning kept you safe. You didn't develop this skill in a classroom. You developed it because you had to. Sign 2. You know when someone is struggling before they say anything. Someone says they're fine. You already know they're not. You sense the shift in a person's energy before they've even had a chance to process it themselves. You notice the small things, the tone that's slightly off, the smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes, the pause that lasted a beat too long. Psychologists call this hyperempathy, and it almost always develops in people who spent years closely tracking the emotional states of the people around them. You learn to feel others because your environment required it. Before we keep going, does any of this sound like you? Drop a comment below. Seriously, I want to know which sign hits closest. And if this is making you see yourself differently, hit like. It helps more people find this. Sign 3. Under pressure, you go calm, not chaotic. When things fall apart, something interesting happens to you. While everyone else is panicking, something inside you gets quiet, focused, strategic. You assess, you adapt, you move. Researchers describe this as stress inoculation. The idea that people who experienced early adversity can become better calibrated for high-stakes situations. Because high-stakes situations were simply their normal. What other people experience as overwhelming chaos, you see as a problem to solve. That's not luck, that's your nervous system doing something genuinely remarkable. Sign 4. You think about human behavior almost compulsively. You replay conversations. You analyze why people do what they do. You notice things in someone's behavior that the person themselves hasn't consciously registered yet. This didn't come from nowhere. It was forged by years of trying to understand people whose behavior felt unpredictable and whose moods had real consequences. You became a student of human nature because understanding people felt essential. Not interesting, essential. And now, almost automatically, you can anticipate how someone will react before they do. You're often one step ahead in situations most people haven't even started processing yet. Sign 5. You struggle to trust. But when you do, it runs deep. Your threshold for trust is higher than most people's. You don't hand it out easily. You watch, you observe, you wait. A lot of people misread this as coldness or distance. It's neither. Cognitive psychologists call it adaptive skepticism, a calibrated response built by a brain that learned early on that not every signal of safety was real, so it built filters. Those filters can feel isolating sometimes, but they also mean that the connections you do form tend to be honest, grounded, and unusually resilient. You don't collect relationships, you build real ones. And once you trust someone, that bond is very hard to break. Here's what psychology keeps coming back to with all of this. These traits, the perceptiveness, the empathy, the calm under pressure, the depth of thinking, the carefully guarded trust, these aren't weaknesses dressed up as strengths. They are genuine adaptations, real intelligence, built by a mind that was responding to real experiences. You didn't develop this through luxury, you developed it because your environment demanded it. And that means something. Not everything that comes from pain is damage. Some of it is extraordinary.